businesses in the area. Why just me? He got real defensive
Because he's
about
building
that.
one of the largest areas. He's building in one of the largest areas, and that is right off of the entertainment district, so that's why he's accountable.
Yeah, but he did get defensive about why you all are picking on me and y'all should do something, and it just got contentious about signing on the dotted line with having an agreement with the members of the community. If it weren't for me, it wouldn't that be done, or something to that nature.
Here's what I took from that, is that if we are a well-informed community, as soon as they think of that thought, they have to go to somebody who in office somewhere, right? And we should be able to have that information. So, for future reference, if we stay prepared, we ain't have really, how they say, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
So that way, he wouldn't have had to try to play games. He knew out the gate, he would have had to sit at the table with us. He purposely did not sit down with the money because he didn't have to respect Amani. He didn't have to, because Amani wasn't nothing to respect at that time when he was doing this 2 years ago. So that's what they going off of. They've been having talks about 2 years. So you see, we just now getting into the talk. So now I'm on the, we was prepared, and we knew about this, we could have did something about it. But we just learning. We learning, this our first rodeo, y'all, so buckle up.
Well, he has a responsibility, right? Because this is our neighborhood.
Correct.
He didn't choose Shorewood or whatever. He owes the same responsibility. And then secondly, it's city money that he wants.
Yeah.
Which includes our funds, right?
Exactly, and
So
that's
he
the
has-
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gonna make them stand on it, but I'm just saying that where we wasn't prepared at, but what we have to start knowing, so we don't have to bump our head on this no more. So when they come in, they already knowing that, hey, y'all gonna have to deal with some people, and business, it's got to be business.
And what did he tell you at the planning commission meeting? Because y'all have that on tape, as I heard.
Yeah, at the planning commission meeting, we said he was gonna work with us, and it's gonna be vice versa. But we ain't got nothing in writing, but we know if ain't nothing in writing, it's just just talk.
But another thing that got me concerned, that would be another issue, is Amani boundaries. And I asked you about that because I was told to North Avenue, 20th to North Avenue, but then even our shirts say center. So, and he said, what did you tell me, that it varies depending on.
Whoever you're talking to.
Well, different
No.
maps. So the federal map had center to Keith, but the city map had north to Burlock.
And then there's some maps that we're not on at all.
Exactly.
So it's
and
like
hold on,
we need
about
to
the shirt,
establish it.
we gonna get a new shirt made that go to north. So
And
I think we ought to get a shirt that has sort of from the lake to Chicago. And all that stuff about the map, that's a false issue.
That's what I was just finna talk about. That was like a smoke screen to get us off of. Because if we focus on that, then we won't be focused on him trying to sneak in.
But
Yeah, but
also,
he still
if
would
you
have to
don't
be,
have to,
he still would have to be accountable for Lindsay Heights, because Lindsay Heights is also on that corridor.
Well, he been talking to Lindsay
Yeah,
Heights
he-
already,
but-
though.
this is
But
what
they-
Lindsay Heights want,
Yeah.
according to them.
They already talked to them already. They already in there. See, they already had
But
communication.
we don't know what it means to be in there yet.
Yeah.
So when we had the business meeting with them, they did mention that Haywood had already said that he wouldn't do any type of agreement.
So, wait, what do you mean that we don't know what it means? What do you mean by that? By what you just said, you said we don't know what it means to be in there.
If he's been talking to a particular neighborhood, we don't know if there's any kind of agreement that's come out of that. We don't know what that means, talking to him. He came in to this building and he talked
He talked.
at
Yeah.
Bryce Bay and Richard, and I think Sister Patricia was there, no, or Alice was there. Yeah, all of y'all were there. He talked at you, but it wasn't like
But
he was
as-
talking about
as
community
of this-
benefits or
this
what.
point, he hasn't offered any concessions.
No, at this
He
point,
said that he would sit down and,
That's correct.
as I understand, he said he would sit down and do a community benefits agreement, and when we asked, but we've now not been able to get him to sit down yet, but that's why we're meeting tonight.
So
That's the question.
Alex, the question would be for you and Richard, meet with Antonio,
Butts.
Butts and ask him, because he is the director. So he would be able to give you a more honest answer of what's what, because they always want us to still have that collaboration with them on.
I sent the email
they were looking towards Haywood as take care of your boys.
Yeah.
And that's the impression I got. I was new to them. But I sat there and listened to, they wanted this hotel, they had this hotel idea, convention idea, and an entrepreneur hub. And what I gathered from the conversation was he didn't understand why we didn't take his word, and I don't know what the word was because I wasn't at that initial meeting. He was saying there was a mistrust there. And anybody knows that if you don't have it in writing, there's no agreement.
And we don't even know you, dude. Like, I don't know you.
So I want everybody to get on the same page about what this proposal from his company is, so that we all know exactly what we're talking about, okay? Richard and everybody asked me to go through all the public records and newspaper articles to see exactly what the financing is and what the proposal is. So, and this came up last night, we were somewhat confused. What he asked the city for, and what he seems to have, at least at this point, received, he asked, he's got something called a developer TIF, a developer tax increment financing for $4 million. Now what that is, as opposed to a regular tax increment financing district, means that you would be paid, the city would be paid back, or the developer would be paid back as taxes are received on the finished development from the revenues at some percentage, or you would not have to pay taxes up to a certain level. A developer TIF in Milwaukee means that the city of Milwaukee did not give in advance a single dollar. He only can collect that $4 million as the development is completed. Okay, so what he's got, and if you look very carefully at everything he said for the money, that's one thing he's saying. He wanted that $4 million. The way he got it is not, here's a check, $4 million, go run on the street, make it happen. But he gets $4 million back out of that portion of the tax from sales of what actually ends up in the project. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when asked about the rest of the financing, he has a whole, and at least as he's been quoted in various newspaper articles here in Milwaukee, he's got several things he says. One is he's hoping to get historic tax credits. Now once again, that's different than real money, because somebody has to sell those tax credits to rich people or investors or pension funds or whoever. And that may be what his relationship is with LISC, because LISC does a lot of tax credit financing for development. LISC is a low-income, I don't even know, S, I can't remember what S stands for, corporation. But they were a board-funded operation, now they're independent. But once again, that's a tax credit. To get that actual money, you have to go out and sell the tax credits, or you have to have somebody give you the tax credits. Usually those credits are time limited, 10, 20, 30 years, until, you know, they're able to pull their money out. Secondly, they say he's trying to get money from the new opportunity zones that were created by the Trump tax giveaway last year. And here's what those were. A last-minute deal triggered by Sean Parker, the old Facebook and Napster guy, said, okay, how about a tax credit opportunity zones to help develop tech areas? Well, the requirements on those opportunity zones are, first, the money went, the authority went from the federal government to the state government, not to the city. And so the governor of each state, and most of them were Republicans at that time, had to approve the number of census tracts that would be eligible to be opportunity zones. And the requirement is either it's a low-income area or that it is abuts a low-income area in order to qualify. Because it is supposed to produce benefits in order to receive and develop the money for low to moderate income families in that area. This is very important. So this is what I'm saying. Ignore every sentence you've ever heard about the map because it is balderdash. There's nothing to it. Because he's got to develop, if he wants to ever apply for the opportunity zone, he's got to be in that whole census tract, not some phony baloney city map or whatever, And he's gotta be involved in all the areas that abut it. Which is certainly, nobody's gonna ever argue that we don't abut that area. Okay, so this is what the reality is. Don't get confused about what he said, she said. This is the story. So if you ask me personally, from reading what I've read so far, I don't know that he has a single dollar for the project yet. What he told the city, and has said publicly in Milwaukee, is that he's going to use the $4 million to clear the site, to do asbestos removal on the building, and to pay back the original $1.5 million that he used a year ago to buy the site in the first place.
What do you got from the city?
So he's essentially paying himself back out of that $4 million. But once again, is that crazy? Well, since it's a developer tax increment financing, he's really saying, I'm going to pay myself back as it gets developed, because he's still got no real money. But that's the $4 million, that's what it's for.
Where did the 1.5 come from to get the fund, the initial?
That's his business, I don't know, I'm sure. He,
Campaign.
It came from the city.
you say, I don't know that. If that's true, he's getting 1.5 million from the city to pay back the city? Well, that's even crazier. I mean,
Well, that happens all the time.
before everybody asks another question, let me get all the details out here. Here's another thing we need to keep in mind. It's a parallel track that's like a barnacle connected to this pier. The council got $500,000 approved in the budget for the city of Milwaukee that's already been approved to help develop startup small businesses in the area, not in the development, but around this development, were this development to be approved and happen. So that's different than that 4 million, that's another $500,000. Right? We don't know if there's an a request for proposals process, or who's really, how you get to that money.
BOT, the block grant fund.
No, it's not, none of this is block grant funds, none of this is CDBG. This was a separate $500,000 attached as a rider to the budget that Stamper, or what's
Yeah,
his name?
Stamper, he
got
was.
that approved.
His office or something has something to do with that block
He
grant
got it?
fund.
Okay,
Okay, but.
but once you say the word block grant, some people are gonna get confused and think we're talking about CDBG money, community development block money, which has to be used for low and moderate income people. That's not what this money is. Everything about the financing said he's not asking for CDBG money. I was looking for that too. I thought, oh, this guy's gonna rip off that money. But that's not into play, because what is his proposal? Okay, and then the section. So his proposal is somewhere, he's been quoted as saying this project is anywhere between 34, 36 million, up to 40 to 50 million dollars. It depends on who he's talking to and what newspaper article. At different times, he said this is going to be a tech, a WeWorking center, that a WeWork space like the millennials have, where they bring in their computer and they get lattes. So that's one thing, but that's, they have high computer speed or whatever. He said that this is going to have retail spaces. It's obviously going to be a hotel with a certain number of rooms there. Some people say he's claiming it's a 5-star hotel, but who knows what that means. He also, and this is very important to Amani, in his first comments, not long ago, March 27th, so you're talking about 6 weeks ago, says there's going to be apartments that are developed in the north side of this footprint, which is where the parking lot is. But he's never said anything. In some of his developments, he's done a majority of the units are affordable at 60%, or at least he's calling them affordable at 60% of median income. But here, he said apartments. We don't know what the story is. We don't know how many of those are affordable. Obviously, any negotiations you would have, you'd want to be talking about, are they affordable and at what percentage of average mean income or whatever. So, and then he's just like, what a developer always does in Milwaukee and anywhere around the world is they paint castles in the sky. So you can't really tell exactly what he's doing. He's getting some architect, he's got a general contractor, he's whatever, da-da-da-da. But he's also saying he's got to, in terms of being ready for the Democratic National Committee, he's got to be breaking ground, doing this thing this spring. And once again, I live in New Orleans. I don't know when spring is. He could still have months to get ready, but time is You know, like
The
the Stone
news
said,
said
time
this
is not
week.
on our side, huh?
Under the news reporting today, it said this week we will see some significant action in the building. That was at 6 o'clock tonight.
That could be a bobcat running in the parking lot. you
Right,
know?
right.
I mean, I don't know. It's been a hustle bustle.
That
Okay,
depends
so,
on what- on your definition of significant action.
right, so there's a question already.
My question is, because I don't know a whole lot about that, I did go to that meeting and everything, but how can I put it? When you're dealing with somebody that's an adversary, you're trying to get something accomplished through that person or get them to agree to what you want or you at least compromise.
That's the definition of this.
My question is, would it help us to know, like, 'cause I hear you laying out his plans, what he's saying he's gonna do or not gonna do. Would it help us to know what else he's trying to do in order to be able to get some leverage against him? Because he's also trying to buy the Friendship House and they don't want to sell to him and he's pressuring them. So it seems like he has this bully mentality. And so if he doesn't have the funds for that, how does he have the funds to try to go after the Friendship House?
Well, furthermore, we drove by Germania today, and it looks like to me, it's not rented. Top 2 or 3 floors had nothing but blinds shut, which always means it's not rented. The bottom the floor and the mezzanine, you could see through the window, you could see it wasn't rented. So I don't know what's going on with this guy. But
Germania.
you're exactly right. It's about
So
leverage,
well,
and there's a bunch of leverage we could talk about. If he wanted to go to the DNC, let me tell you, there is no delegate in the Democratic National Convention that is ever going to cross a picket line to go into a hotel if there's a dispute with the community or the workforce. That's just truth. That's not opinion. He can bully all he wants, but he could be sitting there with a white elephant if we've got 3 or 4 people or however many from Amani saying, where's our community benefit agreement? So at the back end, you've got huge leverage. Furthermore, as we all know, once we talk about the Democratic National Committee, that's a secondary CBA we're looking at, and we've got a way to get to Tom Perez to have a conversation, and part of that conversation is this project has to be right before anybody signs a contract from any state delegation to go in there. We've got leverage. We also have leverage because he doesn't have any money yet. So the last thing he wants is controversy, and go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm just not hearing about these apartments. Now you said 60%. Is that supposed to be supplemental?
All I can tell you is in his quoted statements, he says there are going to be apartments. That's all he said. In another development that he did, not Germania, but some other development, I saw that it was a majority, it had like 40-something units, and like 30 or so were affordable by his definition, 60% of median income. I'm just reading the paper.
No, I totally
None of that has to do with Icon, because he hadn't said about apartments here.
He's gonna end up using, the Commons developers. The Commons developers, they're working with Lindsay Heights. They're actually ones who help build the apartments that are there now, and they use that, ice cream company. And
Well, he's quoted in the paper saying, but who he's going to use for general contractor and designer. And I don't recognize that name, but it's in the articles. Alex?
I know originally he was talking about doing apartments and things of that nature, but I believe that his plan has changed based on the information that we got just 2 weeks ago. He wasn't talking about doing any apartments, affordable housing, anything of that nature. What he based it down to is the hotel, the entrepreneur space, and the conference center. He needs so much parking space for that, where he has to level out the rest of the plane. That's why he's trying to buy up everything around there. And most of that property is owned by the city. So the city is technically just pretty much giving it to him. And where the 1.5 came from.
But it hadn't given it to it yet.
Not yet.
So that's also leverage.
Yeah, that's also leverage. And where the $1.5 million came from was the Milwaukee Economic Development Corporation. So that's where initially it came from. And I think that's why Rocky McConnell, and that's the one that, Marcoux. I don't know how to.
Rock Marciano.
Yeah, that's what I really look at him as. But nevertheless, that's another reason why he was really advocating for this to go through so they can get their money back, because he's the head over there.
Well, they definitely mentioned that agency, I just didn't know all the
Yeah.
facts, you know.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't get past March. Okay.
they're really robbing Peter to pay Paul, in my opinion.
The key issue for us, once we get to that, is talking about what we would want in a community benefit agreement. So, he may no longer be talking about apartments, but we want to still say, if there are apartments, here's how many we want to be affordable and at what rate. For two reasons you want to say that. One, if he changes his mind and can't get it together, whatever, that's one. He knows what our demand is. Two, we're going to be dealing with this guy again. So it's important to establish what the benchmark is if you want to deal with Amani about housing for how much is going to be affordable and at what level. So,
Who do we have on our side? What allies do we have that's willing to, you know, express the way we feel about it and is willing to stand with us, if any? Is there anybody, like alderpersons, anybody in the government, anybody in the city, anybody that's willing to stand with us to help us get this across?
right. And
Well,
now,
the South
since
Side
I've done the
aldermen
background,
said
now I'm
no.
going to try to get everybody to follow the agenda, because that's an important question. But rather than jump around, let's see. Our analysis of developers' proposal. We've talked about financial strength. We've talked about the fact that it absolutely depends on the broadest definition of community you can say, not the most narrow. I don't know, and you would know, whether or not he's discussed any amenities in the existing proposal that he's made.
Well, I know that as far as citywide, he has to provide 40% of the jobs to low income, right?
I think it's just the requirement is that 40% of the workforce be from the city of
From the
Milwaukee.
city of Milwaukee, there you go.
And that's another piece of legislation that Stanford passed. So the $500,000 business incubator and the 40% work hiring agreement are things that Russell Stanford is really priding himself on doing something for the community with.
In the business incubator, the language in at least the public reports, that's around the development, not in the development. So, I mean, if he all of a sudden grabs that $500,000 too, that's just wrong.
I'm just wondering, how can he, if Walnut Way is doing a business hub and an incubator, and he's gonna try to do the same exact thing? Because they're breaking ground on that May 23rd.
Where is it going to be?
It's 16, it's right off of Fond du Lac. It's called Adams Park, and it's gonna be an innovative hub.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a common theme that's going around the whole city.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are starting to you know, have this bright idea of a co-working space. And even to the fact of the matter of, I was on a development that's right down the street that never broke ground, that we were working on the same idea. But nevertheless, a part of his schematics, his plan, the incubator is inside the lobby of the hotel. So it's just a key. Yeah, and it's also like a den that goes down, and then that's like another space for them to hold, you know, meetings, whatever case may be. So I would think that he is, if it's exactly what you're saying, he's trying to, you know, suck up those money as well.
Sure, I'm sure that's true. That's a good point.
The city jobs in the incubator, is that general city or specific to the neighborhood, like Amani?
Exactly. It's general city.
That's why, so let's go to the demands. We'll still come back to leverage. So if we want jobs, what percentage of jobs do we want? There is a template in whatever was negotiated.
Here it goes, man. A copy of the actual agreement.
No,
It's just a,
no, those are just notes.
Oh. Oh, it's all good.
And I don't know, is that the original notes, or did you amend those at all after I sent you some comments, or what?
No,
Not yet?
I haven't.
Okay, so that's, you've got those, and I don't know if anybody else has them. And I didn't make any copies, because I didn't know if there was a legal version. So there is some notes, but what did they get on the MASH deal in terms of the percentage of jobs? It was 50%, not 40% had to
I
come
think it
from
might
my
be
area.
even 60.
I thought it was almost 70 from with MASH.
Well, what Peter Rickman told me was 50.
50% of the
50 was what
workforce.
was in the agreement. He claimed that statistically, once they looked at whether or not people came from those specific low-income census tracts, more than 60% came. And that's maybe where we're getting confused. So it ended up, that was one metric that they exceeded, but they had to come up with 50%. So we certainly don't want to settle for 40% came from Milwaukee. We want 50%
From the
at
neighborhood.
least from our area, and we might be able to say, based on the record of the basketball arena being built, that we should get 60 because they had more than that.
Exactly.
In the notes, we have 75% higher from Amani.
Okay, so nobody knows about those notes but you and me. So it's not helpful unless we get an amended note and pass it around and put it in front of everybody.
Those demands came from the first Saturday meeting where we.
Oh, okay.
agreed
Yeah.
on consistency.
Oh, well, that's helpful to know. So, jobs, overall, you want
That's what I
somewhere
said.
60 plus or 70 or whatever.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is you know from what the precedent is that you could win no less than 50. This is a negotiating point, because that's what was in that other agreement. And you know from the record in that other agreement, they did something like 64, so you probably could win 60. Okay, so that's one. Now, the jobs, you always have to make sure you're making a demand for both construction jobs as well as the post-construction jobs. Because if you make a mistake and just get the construction jobs, then you got painters, you got janitors, you got laborers, you got carpenters, apprentices, you get a lot of jobs, but those jobs are all gone a year and a half from now. So you want to make sure you get that percentage of jobs, and you specifically say in the agreement that it includes the post-construction jobs and services. Now, what are they going to say? He's going to say, these are tenants. I don't know if I can control that. Is that true?
No, because he can sign an agreement with them before they even. become
Exactly, that could be
tenants,
part of the
let them know
lease.
what's expected of them.
Okay, so, good. Because that, the first thing he's going to say is, oh, you know, but that's exactly right. The lease that he approves, he should not be able to approve a lease that would contradict whatever the agreement is we negotiate. So if it says you've got to hire 50% to be your service clerks or your whatever, and if we're worried that all those jobs will only go to the lowest paid hourly wage people, we should make that demand. That there also should be some percentage that are in supervisory positions or management.
Right on.
It's not necessarily legal to have a affirmative action quota, but we would be crazy not to raise that issue.
Absolutely.
And you've got, now he's very clear in everything. He's, oh, no gentrification, no gentrification. If you say that you're marketing a project because it's only 3 minutes from, what's the name of the stadium? The Forum.
Deer District.
If you say you're marketing it because it's that close to the Forum, and you say it's about tech, don't tell me that's not gentrification.
You can, like the bus thing.
So you need to make sure that the job demand is definitely from, at every level from our community, and that's in the language. And it's not against the law or against, you know, it's not a Title VII violation or whatever to say from the community, even though the community here is 98% African American, okay? I can't underline this enough. You cannot be liberal in dealing with these negotiations. You have to be hard as nails. You can't be, give them benefit of the doubt, whatever, or you lose. So anything you don't put orally across the table and then try to get in writing, either in the formal agreement or on a side letter, you're not going to get. A developer is in a project and then out. You have a very short window. He's in there until he gets his money back, and then he's gone. And then, which is why you have to have successorship in the agreement, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, jobs, you're talking about construction jobs, you're talking about post-construction, you're talking about race without saying race, you're talking about supervision, you want the whole package, right?
Supervision.
How about subcontracts?
I don't understand supervision.
People who are supervisors, not just
Okay,
hourly
yes,
workers.
okay.
You know?
Managerial positions.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
I was thinking on the lines of like a advisory committee, like a community advisory committee to kind of steer the conversation or make sure they're compliant. And
But if you have an agreement directly with Amani United, what you want is a review period of that agreement. If you create an advisory committee, you just subcontracted the authority to somebody who's not Amani United, somebody who's on the advisory committee.
Yeah, but I was ultimately thinking that Amani United will be the advisory committee.
You know, the first meeting you have, I don't know, Alex, but the first meeting you have, he's gonna say, well, why don't we put the alderman here? I mean, there's a preacher down here we ought to put in. How about somebody from the Urban League? And next thing you know, you're gonna be sitting there in a 10-person meeting with 3 people from Amani, and you've got an agreement you're trying to enforce. And every time you try to enforce that agreement that's signed with them, somebody's gonna tell you, well, the advisory committee said whatever, and you're gonna be fighting. Well, you said you wanted an advisory committee, so you don't wanna dilute your power.
I got you.
I'm gonna pass this around to the 7 people who didn't get one last night. Thank you, Richard.
You welcome.
Okay, subcontract, we've talked about this. And I know we're trying to qualify people now for various subcontracts. Am I wrong, Alex?
You're right.
So, I mean, I heard a conversation today about getting lead certified, and we connected Denisha with people that have gotten those certifications, who worked for us on our housing corporation before. But what other kind of subcontracts do you want to make sure that we have a preference for?
You said with the asbestos removal, and just not, for the asbestos removal, the lead, but it's for the specs, to have a project manager to make sure that they're following specifications and things of that from the city, county, state, and federal government.
So does anyone know the general contractor? I mean, he's already announced the general contractor.
Yeah,
Do we have any relationship
I know one of
with
the
him?
brothers, Cliff.
Yeah, and I know Cliff.
So that's a good meeting, I'm talking about leverage, that's a meeting we should have even while we're trying to get the agreement and tell them very clearly, this is gonna be our demands, we wanna make sure you're standing with us.
Because I have training as a project manager for asbestos removal, which trumps lead removal, so I can do both. It's a dual.
Make sure you tell them, we've got somebody with asbestos certification.
We got a subcontractor.
Yeah, Dominic, man, what you got to say? Get off your quiet back there, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just listening.
Hold on.
Just
he
listening.
do it too.
If you were subcontractor, what would you want to see up in there? Like, or how would you want to be able to benefit? That way we can kind of make it tangible. Just a thought out there.
If I was a subcontractor in a project of that magnitude, and I know JCP, a good friend of mine. I mean, to really have an agreement with them, you know, because this is that's a big project. That's a big project.
So they get a lot of subs on a project like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
should we ask for a percentage of the subs?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's some things that they're
I
gonna
don't
do.
know how much you're bonded for or whatever. I mean, it may not be
Yeah.
within your size, but if they break it into a couple of pieces, it might be right what you could do.
Yeah, they definitely gonna have some things that a contractor myself can handle, even with training, unskilled labor. They're gonna have some phases at even from the beginning, you know, for a contractor of my magnitude and to hire like young men like this, unskilled, so yeah, they're definitely gonna have phases from beginning to end.
We didn't ID him. We're not sure if he's old enough to be.
Like I
hired.
said, maybe, right, you're right. I'm sorry, you may be skilled, you're right, you may be skilled. But, you know, nevertheless, what's common among us is unskilled, but they should have phases throughout.
Well, then let's make sure we put training as one of the demands as well, that we want a certain number of trainings, we want a certain percentage of the subcontracts. You know,
Even with the women
Train
subcontractors, that's a whole nother level to the subcontractors
but
that's
we
on
need
the
women
site.
on this job.
Yeah,
And we need them to do something other than you know, standing there with a thing doing traffic.
I got a question.
What's your question, Ken?
Would it be a good idea then to develop our own list of these type of people so that we could recommend them and then we would make sure that they got the opportunity to actually get these jobs instead of depending on them to go out and find them? We find them
Absolutely.
and we make our own list
And we can
and we
make
say, we suggest
recommendations.
this company or
Yes.
corporation or this individual, they're licensed, they're certified. Then that way, if they say, no, we don't want them, then they have to answer to us why. You have to give us a reason why.
And I think that's actually leverage, which is why I'm saying we talk to the general contractor. I think we should start putting the word out all over Amani. Have a contractor day here on a Saturday. Anybody who wants to work on that job needs to come talk to us so we know what your specs are, your bonding, what kind of job you can handle.
Read their qualifications and
They come to
certifications.
Amani United. You don't have to, the worst thing in this world is to think you always have to ask for permission. You know, if he wants to tell us later, oh, you guys wouldn't, well, what are you doing? You're hiring people from, oh, we sorry now, Mr. Kalen, but we've got these 15 contractors. We hope, you know, a third of them, half of them get jobs, you know, whatever.
I think with Amani, we're always gonna have to be 1 or 2 steps ahead
Absolutely.
of whoever we're dealing with, and we need to figure that out. We need to know
That's why we're
exactly
doing this right
who
now.
these people are and how they think, how they operated in the past. If anybody disagreed with them, or as much information as we can get about them, just like Facebook, get your information and then sell it. We need to be able to do the same thing. And that way we'll know how to deal with our adversaries. So when they come up with that, we can say, well, what about this? You know, we already have our questions prepared.
Okay, so I know we're making notes, but we need the contractors.
So, one of the things, key points you're gonna have to definitely look into is residency requirements, because you're gonna have a lot of individuals knowing that these type of structures are being built and will come down and will rent an apartment within the neighborhood and say, hey, I live in this neighborhood, but technically don't. We had that huge issue with Gorman. Gorman opened up a location within a certain perimeter, was able to say, I'm technically a part of the city.
But y'all already know what the population of Amani is.
Yeah, it's just making sure that, like, because you know that
We've got
this
that
is a
database
project.
on, okay,
Yeah,
we're
we kind
good
of
on
discussed
that.
that last night in the meeting about structure on how we gonna kind of, you know, how we gonna level the residents and how we don't be tricked like how you said.
So are there laws that will come against us and say that we're being discriminating?
Nah.
So
No,
we
because we're gonna
protect
not
ourselves?
discriminate.
We gonna not
Okay.
discriminate. Yes.
Because like she was saying, it's real tricky in the contractor field, because minorities, I have seen subcontractors come in and say this was a woman-owned business. It was only on paper only, never did any female come through to
We
work
all
on-
know that, we know the
work on
scam,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's
but
rough.
that's why we're saying, back to Candy's, let's talk to the contractors, let's vet them in advance, let's make sure these are stand-up people, it's a real deal. And be very clear, these are people we're willing to certify as part of the community benefits agreement from Amani United, not some jive thing that just walked in the door and said, okay, we got sister so-and-so, and the rest is, you know, from Illinois or somewhere. Look, community organizations I've worked with literally go out on the first day of a job and take pictures of every license plate on that job. And if it's, you know, if it's in Louisiana, if it's Mississippi, and Texas, and Florida, and Alabama, and whatever, we run the numbers and we go right there and we make the demand. If we didn't have an agreement beforehand, we're in their face as soon as they open up. And we get some of those contractors removed. Particularly if there's public money. And here, there's public money up to the eyeballs. This is all tax giveaway. Okay, other community amenities. What are we talking about here? For example, they sometimes talk about next door building something that's like a mental health center or something. Is that?
What next door?
No, it's the elderly home.
Okay, elderly home, so you might have a senior daycare center or a MHMR workshop or a regular children's daycare center or whatever. What kind of amenities What kind of community benefits does Amani want in this development,
I-
physically in this
I have a
development?
question though, back to the, trainings and things, as far as the education or whatever. If it's exactly what they say it's gonna be, they're gonna need degrees for some of those positions. Because, degrees, for hotel and hospitality management, they're gonna need degrees. So they should have, because I know Hyatt and Pfister has contracts with schools where they can go to school to earn a degree while they're at the job. And as they get higher with their education, they get higher pay, and pay increases. So I think that should be in there
And
too,
that's
as
why
far
we talked
as.
about training as part of the demands we need to make. Training, certification, education, that's part of the
Yeah,
package.
it gotta be real
Okay,
specific.
now we're gonna go to
Degree.
community amenities. Okay?
All right, the amenities, one minute that I thought about was like for the youth to have somewhere to go. Well, they do have like the parks for somewhere to go, like art, things like that, after school program.
Like a youth center or something.
Yes.
Put it on the list. Who is taking all the notes on this?
Remember I told you.
Oh my God, who's taking the notes?
I have a meeting the other night.
I don't know if
I thought Amani had a secretary.
Well, yeah, I don't see no secretary here, but I know.
Make sure somebody takes
Somebody
that.
needs to be taking the minutes so we can post them online and we can, people know.
Well, at least share them among, you don't have to put them online, we can share them among ourselves, but somebody needs, you taking notes?
I'm recording.
Okay. Okay.
And
so-
you're videoing, right? So you can always
Yeah,
send
but
some
you
of that
know-
video to go back into.
Okay, you're right, as long as somebody knows, because we need to put it into a proposal that's gonna be what we propose to somebody. Okay, so youth center, so you'd be asking for two things, a space plus a dedicated piece of money that's paying for somebody to coordinate that youth center. Doesn't matter if all you get's real estate and you've gotta go finance the staffing, then it's not a youth center. But it's gonna be a lot. How about, gym or something like that in there?
So are you also asking that that space not be a charge space as well? Because if these are youth, they may charge a certain percentage for individuals to come in and use those spaces for conferences. So you definitely want to be able to say, if this is an Amani resident, should they be charged in that same way unless they're utilizing some type of volunteer action?
And is it just only for Amani residents? There's other
No, it's
communities
not.
around Amani that could, use those facilities and services too.
Sure, and you know, we want as many people from that community in this five-star hotel going into the gym or whatever as we can get, so
Yes, we
this is gonna be our.
do.
So yeah, they're gonna have to offer some kind of discount, because like,
Well, that's
why
right, but
charge way too much?
I just think, once again, there's some things that you deal with right there in the first agreement, there's some things you wanna do side letters on. So when you're actually negotiating this, that's a very important point. But you don't wanna get off the main track and be talking about whether or not somebody's paying $5 or $1.50. You wanna say, okay, once we've got an agreement in principle that there's a youth center, we need to talk about that details, we'll do that as an aside letter, we just wanna make sure there's a section language in the community benefits agreement saying there will be a youth center. How about something for other people?
I think some support for homeowners in the area to get renovations. Currently at the city level, you know, there are grants for people that fall well below the median income level to receive funds. But there are people in the neighborhood that aren't living in poverty and deserve a chunk of that change that's gonna come their way. So I don't know exactly where that would fit, but I know that there's a need for long-standing homeowners that aren't.
Let's ask them to support a housing counseling program. That's the same thing we're asking self-help credit union to do.
Does anybody else got anything they wanna add to that?
I'm thinking you have
So we
those
put that on the
resources,
list, huh?
homeowner resources.
Yes, a homeowner.
You know, like those tool
Right.
rentals or, a lot of the runs of property of furniture and, drywall and, I mean, just the whole construction stuff. You had one down on Lisbon. Anybody ever use that?
Yep, I
It was
do.
when you were $35
Housing
membership,
resources,
housing
yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
And they had everything. We have a new one now on 4th and 5th and North Avenue.
Yeah.
Is that a paper?
Yeah,
That's-
and membership.
That's community warehouse, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's the whole concept.
I've been trying to actually get us a partner with them because basically my cousin and his wife actually is like managers. I'm like, man, y'all need to bring them resources straight to the neighborhood. Y'all tripping.
They come out to all different events, especially
They
when we
do.
do outreach. They, have a partnership with, individuals who have been incarcerated. So right now, that's mainly what they're using their basement space for. But to be able to, once they're done with those materials, they could take the materials that's left over from the hotel, and if, certain homeowners need them or would like to use them, the same way that they give stuff to,
Understand.
Mm-hmm. Is there a ban the box ordinance in Milwaukee?
Who?
Can they ask you whether or not you've got a record?
Or not?
Yeah.
I believe, is
No.
it?
No.
They're not
They're
They
not
trying it though. I think they was trying to ban the
They
box.
discussed banning it, I don't
Well,
know.
let's make sure it's on our list, that that's
Yeah.
not a question that can be asked on any application from a job from our community.
Oh, that's a good tip.
That's what, Walton was kinda doing something, right? Wasn't around that time when it was banning the box stuff with the movie he was doing too?
With 53206.
Does
Let's,
Amani have
let's-
a representation, a legal representation where we can get those questions asked? Someone that we can go to ahead of time and find out what the
Yeah,
legal?
we can go on the internet in 2 minutes and find out if there is a
Okay.
ban the box ordinance, yeah. But everybody seems to say there's not, but just in case, let's demand that there can't be on this job. Also, they cannot rent to a payday lender or any kind
The
of
liquor
check cashing
stores,
house.
oh my God, the liquor stores. There's
Can't have a
so-
liquor store in there.
There's already one that's right next door.
Don't
So here's my point, my point is, we can't stop what's next door, but
Right.
we can try to get an agreement here that we want any tenants to be community building tenants. So it wouldn't be payday lending, it wouldn't be a pawn shop, it wouldn't be a nail, I mean, I don't know, maybe it would be a nail shop, but it wouldn't be, there wouldn't be a check cashing location.
So basically, from my understanding is, our job is to make sure that he don't try to put things in there that's actually going to help gentrificate. We gotta kinda stop that.
We've got to stop gentrification, and we don't want anything in there that hurts our people.
Correct. Basically go, well, I think that's a simple one, y'all. There's a lot of stuff that don't need to go up in there then.
So is
Well,
this currently there is
given
not
that
a-
it's supposed to be a 5-star hotel, there's got to be, I'm
Yeah, but
assuming that there will be a certain level of, you wouldn't want payday lending in there because people wouldn't want people coming there.
Right.
But
Right.
what about around it?
yeah, but around it, and let's go back to the 5-star hotel. You put in a 5-star hotel, y'all. Just think about it. You put in a 5-star hotel in the middle of y'all planning on moving some people out.
Right.
So this is
Yeah.
really slick.
Oh, that's the
This is really
And
slick.
there are two things. One, this will never be a 5-star hotel.
It's never gonna be.
And two, there is gonna be gentrification even if it's a 3-star hotel.
Yes.
So, we gotta be very clear what we're fighting here. We're not fighting every story he tells in the
A
paper.
5-star hotel, they're not gonna draw that type of clientele in that area.
In that area,
That's
no.
what
They move everybody out.
Unless they wear everybody out.
Actually, they
Right,
already
not
have,
unless they run everybody else.
they've
out.
already did a lot of significant changes, even if you look at the Tandem Restaurant.
That's right.
When you go into the Tandem Restaurant, we just did a press conference
Where's it
for, it's
On
right
Fond
off
du
of
Lac,
18th and
17th
Fond du
Lac.
Lac, 17th, 18th. They got lots of money to put into that, but also too, you've got Arch solar panel companies that's coming down and they are solar paneling all of different properties. And so like, one of the things that they've been doing, I'm surprised that they haven't put that in as far as for that hotel, to have the
I don't
green
know what you're
space.
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, we wanna make sure it's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same way we
But,
want the other joint, that we won't do it around here, eco-friendly.
Yeah, people would definitely come off and would pay for that hotel like that. I mean, if.
Right, but a 5-star hotel,
It's
means
not-
you're talking
it's never
about
gonna be
rooms that are $400 a piece.
Yeah,
That's what I mean, they're
So
not
come on.
gonna
But see,
ever happen.
all
We're not
that's
even
gonna
talking
do-
about 175 or 200. A
But-
5-star hotel, you're talking about a staff to bed ratio that's 1.5 to each room.
But then you have a lot
That's
of
not gonna
business
happen.
clients that may come down, but then you also will have a lot of drug dealers who will say, hey, I want those amenities. there are people that will pay that amount.
Okay, where are we going with this conversation?
I'm here,
Yeah,
yeah.
because drug dealers come down there, is definitely gonna take it down from 5-star to 2-stars. People know when they see drug dealers, when they see prostitutes or whatever. The area is not conducive for 5-star. I don't care how much they put in there, the people that would come to a 5-star are not gonna spend their money in there. They're gonna go downtown where it's the type of atmosphere they're looking for.
Right, but the reason I still believe, even on his pretend that you want to demand some things not be there, is you're not negotiating just for 2020. You're negotiating for 2025, 2030, you're negotiating for the future.
Absolutely.
Once he's gone and whatever, you don't know what might be there. And once again, remember this one phrase that he said in promoting this development, and I can send you the quote later. He says they did marketing surveys of the entire area.
Yeah, he did.
Once
Yeah, he
again,
did.
why this BS about what the boundaries of a market surveys of the entire area saying people wanted to spend their money in the neighborhood on the north side, not downtown. So he's marketing to us. He's talking about a broad array of a menu of services that would be the kinds of things people would want, restaurants or whatever, clubs or whatever, that would be there. So don't ever not feel legitimate to be at the table making these demands to this guy. This is all about us.
Can we ask for proof of those surveys?
Why do you care?
Well, I mean,
I'm hoping I don't even care if he's lying. I
But
think he probably is.
if that's what he's basing his points on, that he took these surveys or whatever, and we're trying to say another thing, say, well, let us see the surveys.
Okay, I don't want to see the surveys, because I think it's probably baloney.
Right, I know, so that's why I would
But I
ask.
want to hold him to that. If he says the sky is green, and it's going to help me get an agreement, I'm not going to say, prove it's green. I'm going to say, I know we all believe it's green, now commit to this following thing. You want that property to have services that we want for this neighborhood, just like he says he wants from his marketing survey.
It's basically saying that Vanderbox was trying to be approved, but was still being held. Most organizations or hiring companies are asked not to ask that question, so it's quietly deferred.
So it's volunteer.
Whether or not if it is a legitimate question to ask after 7 years.
So let me paint the picture. This is, y'all, look around. This is a negotiating committee. You're negotiating with an African-American developer. Do you think you're gonna have trouble winning a thing that says ban the box on the applications in this development?
No. You will.
And if he says that, do you not think you just got a huge amount of leverage from everybody? If he's saying this is for the community and all of a sudden he wants to, somebody's got a nickel and dime drug thing from 10 years ago that they can't get a job pushing a broom at his goddamn hotel? Come on now. Don't be liberal. This is something you know you can win.
Okay, so what about the tenants that was displaced because of this new hotel coming? So that they
Are there tenants that have been displaced?
Yes. So there was
Will be
several
or have? That's what I'm
that
asking.
have been. There were several black-owned businesses that used to encompass that area that was displaced because of this hotel was coming. So they kicked all of them out, and some of those are Amani residents. So that's another, ally that we could bring to the table and to advocate for us. Hey, they've been displaced. We want to make sure that they get a piece of this.
And can we organize them? Because we need to. In order to win that demand, we need them at the table with us. Because I think that's the demand on the 500,000, because the 500,000 is for the area around the development, and that's where they were displaced, it sounds like, right?
No, they were displaced from being inside the building.
Oh, well, I don't know.
They were
they was
actually.
Do they want to be in that area, Alex?
Oh, they was owners there.
Well, if they want to be in that area, there's $500,000 they could access.
Yeah, I mean, that was their home.
They were business owners.
Okay, I'm going to still go back to the issue here.
Inside of the building.
That's how the
Okay, but I don't know if they can get back in the building, but if it's $500,000 to get them located near the building, why not go for
They
that?
have access around the building now.
Yeah.
So they're probably the first choice.
Well, let's put it on the list, we
First
need to,
choice.
Yeah.
I keep saying there are two negotiations, as I said in the beginning. One is for the 500,000, because that's not Kalen's project, and the other is for Kalen's
Some
project.
residents from Amani who got a business.
So let's, we don't want to merge the two, but they're all connected, and we need a list of all those. You're exactly right. What kind of business were they?
Well, one was like a key locksmith business. Another one was more or less like nails and hair, a salon. And the other one was like they were selling games. And then another one, electronics. And then another one where he was just selling some of everything. I'm talking about like soaps and tissue.
Sundries.
Sundries, yeah.
Everything.
Sundries. It's a sundry store. He was selling everything. It's Walmart, just small.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Five
Here's
and
one.
dime.
Come on, let's listen.
All right, but for the amenities, I'm reflecting back on my past. I'm thinking like it would be good for the community if we had something similar to the Milwaukee Community Service Corps. We had Amani Community Service Corps where they were actually getting not grants, but like training to do like lead abatement, lead abatement to do skilled trades. They were getting certified in that. They said they were receiving stipends at the same time.
But that's already what Rice County is doing with the young men now.
But I think that's the training we're asking for as part of this thing, right? Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, but to continue that after the.
Yeah, I'll get a certification, and then you actually getting contracts from different places in the city as well as Amani. I mean, not Amani, but different places to clean up and do housing, roof repair. They said, it's all about Amani, so we bring the contract back here.
I couldn't agree more, but once again, the timeline is not friendly to us if we don't already have contractors on the list and people we can put in those jobs, because they're gonna try to build this whole thing between now, which is May, and July of next year. You've got 14 months. You need people that are, ready to go now, but we can certainly talk about how to use the ongoing service jobs and whatever to train too.
And I'll just volunteer. Everybody can send those people my way. Everybody got my contact information. If you don't get it, you all know somebody who's interested in these jobs, send them my way. I'll keep a list. I'll keep in, and make sure that we connect the dots.
Are you gonna do the vetting and make sure that they are what they
I'll be a part of it.
Okay.
It's with you. Whoever else wants to help on the housing committee as well.
I just want to do the interior decorating and design.
All right, well, we're gonna need somebody to, supply that service as well as, other things. He talked about, he literally came to us, and this is all he really promised us. He said, I'll listen if y'all come up with a way for y'all to eat off of this project. Find a way to eat off of this project.
That's like saying nothing.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. He's going slow, but he's really saying it's like y'all gotta be hustlers like I was. Y'all gotta start making soap, make some sheets, make something. Y'all can supply for my hotel.
Become a merchant.
Actually, he's kind of right about the making of the sheet portion.
I mean, that's all good and dandy. That's all good and dandy. That he's increasing, or he's advocating, encouraging entrepreneurship, but at the same time too, he's taking our tax dollars.
Right. Welfare is welfare. If I'm on welfare because I've got 3 kids and whatever, and I'm on the stamps, he's on welfare with $4 million on a loan guarantee. He's trying to get welfare.
Right.
Who's calling an entrepreneur? I'm not an entrepreneur with 3 kids. Yeah, I don't know what kind of entrepreneur it is if he's getting all the public money.
He also said,
Don't be liberal. Don't buy these lines. Don't buy this stuff. You're negotiating a real agreement that'll put it'll change lives. That's what this is about. This is a fight. This is not going to get anywhere.
he also had
Hold on. That's one. Go ahead.
He also had tried to lower the money.
Hey, yo, hey,
Go back to the project.
hey, yo, hold on.
He also had said, I guess, trying to lower expectation that there were so many non-for-profits in the area that he wasn't going to be able to pull off of a tax base to help pay for this. Because it is some non-profits, but he didn't say that.
So far I have not yet heard one word I would believe from him.
So that was another portion.
Yeah.
They are actually taking tax dollars from other areas. So that can be one of our leverages. Like they're taking, because they know Amani really doesn't have a big tax base. That's pretty much what he was saying. If there's a lot of nonprofits, there's a lot of people that come here that has these tax credits or whatever case may be, that's not really paying taxes. So, and then our taxes over here are low. I'm a homeowner, I know. I pay less than $1,000 for taxes every year. So, at the end of the day, we're not accumulating that much in tax dollars.
But
So,
Alex,
he's taking.
tax
he's taking
increment
tax-
financing
Yeah.
defines an area in which you get the increments. Is Amani part of that area?
Yes, it is. But at the same time, wait, what I'm saying is that he's taking money from other areas like the
I
south side.
understand what you're saying,
To, you know, have them as allies.
Okay, but, so he's not even getting his tax increment financing from the development himself, he's getting it from our neighborhood as well? So why would anybody have ever said we're not part of the area if we're helping finance the thing? Are we sure about this? Are we sure that they've defined us as part of the tax increment financing development area?
I would have to double check. I'll have to double
Okay,
check.
so before we say that, let's just make sure we're sitting on concrete, okay?
Yeah, because I don't want to.
Let's go into how to get this. So, there are other ideas, obviously, the proposal's not written. Anybody has an idea, you know who your leadership are, you're the leadership core. Let's talk about how to win this. So, where is our leverage? Where's our financially, well, let's look at everything. Where is our political leverage?
And the people in the money.
Okay, where else is it?
Information that we have that
The
you don't know.
What politician can we put pressure on?
All of them in our favor, so all of them should be able to get some pressure on.
No.
Well, no, I said they don't.
Only one that I really can see is one from the south side, or somebody else that's outside of here, because what he have told me is that he grew up with them. Everybody that was on that council, he said he grew up with them, except for the white man. And that's the one he was really trying to appease and get on his side. But other than that, he said, I used to bang with this person, I used to hang with this person, and none of them, we already had.
Before the meeting started, people were talking about what they wanted to do on Facebook. Here's one of the things I put on Facebook was, we're going to have an interview forum for any political candidates in the whole Amani area that are thinking about running for the city council. Are we endorsing anybody? But we're gonna have a forum for anybody who wants to run. So send a message to City Hall that we're shopping. Don't assume you've got our support. Don't tell me that of somebody who's elected, we have no leverage on. I would eat them for lunch and spit it out after dessert.
That's it right there.
Come on now, let's.
But you have to
Real
do
about
last
this.
year when it came to the,
And there is somebody out there who'll put their name in and run.
We gotta play
if they win.
chess, because they playing checkers, they don't think we know how to do chess.
So,
And who's the state legislature? Not just the city councilman.
Our state rep-
Put that on the list. Put that on the list, so we're.
So listen to this one,
Anybody.
I just invited our senator to come and meet with us. She's coming on the 17th.
Ms. Johnson,
Ms. Johnson's coming on the 17th.
17th of
Did you know
this
this?
month.
what's it to the,
That's the rock the block.
oh, she coming to Rocket
No,
Block?
she's coming to meet with us first,
But
just
you act like,
brother
brother,
being the leaders.
you act like you don't know this.
No, I know he was working on something. I
Okay, so
don't
you
know.
approve.
I get.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I did.
We talked yesterday, I actually making sure we're not rogue
Okay,
out
so the
here.
Yeah, but she's
17th where?
She's coming to the Dominican Center at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
So y'all
On the
had
17th.
Why
Because what
you
has been-
tell us about it till now?
I apologize.
We gotta work on this, we gotta get this communication out
I'm gonna
here.
apologize.
That was one area, everybody said there's gotta be better on
Yes,
this.
there gotta be better
It's gotta be,
communication.
no, it's not communication, it's accountability, Alex.
We gotta know about this so that we
Okay,
can
but
show
look,
up.
But you don't let a politician into your house without having your act together and your demands. And one of the demands has to be, where do you stand on our community benefit agreement? So I don't know who you're even talking about, but we gotta get our act together if you're already getting people coming in the house and we don't have our stuff together. So don't tell me the answer to who are we gonna push politically is nobody. Because everybody who's elected is somebody now we have leverage over, because it's government money that's financing
well,
this.
also Malala, she's actually for it. And she just said that she actually was proud that they stood up at the meeting or whatnot, but she said we have to be better prepared.
She says she wants us to be better prepared
Who is
next
she?
time.
She's one of the 3 aldermen of Amani.
Okay,
53206.
so we need to make a list of every elected official from our area who we can reach out to and make a plan, in each case, a campaign plan, for what we're going to do to push them
And
to
also-
support, let me finish the sentence. What we're gonna do to get them to support our community benefit agreement. And we want them to give us something in writing that says they're gonna support it. So that when you sit down with Hathaway, you're already talking about having divided the political strength. People gotta know you're coming, they gotta know it's serious. Okay, so political, that's it. We can talk about ideas. Financial, where's the financial leverage? He's got not $1 so far that he's established that's been raised from anybody other than the government taxpayers.
Well, that means we still got leverage with all the people, and like he said, if he were getting these funds from outside sources, from outside counties, we need to see what officials from those counties is backing those funds and see what's happening with them people.
He's not saying outside counties.
No, not counties.
Investors.
Other
Well, outside
neighborhoods.
investors.
He's saying other neighborhoods.
Other neighborhoods, I mean, well,
Yeah,
speaking terminology.
Yeah.
other tax bases.
They said protesting, we protest a drought, what they got, 'cause especially for the 2020 convention.
Right across the street is the Self-Help Credit Union. We've had some introductory meetings with them. We need to have some more because we need them to categorically support this, our position, and agree not to help in any way financing this project without a community benefit agreement, including having an office in the development.
Absolutely.
So he's an office
Needs
in
an
the.
office in-
No, I said Self-Help can't have an office in there. They have to support us having the CBA.
Yeah. We don't want nobody basically taking no bribe to make sure they get in there, so everybody gotta talk to us.
That's the same thing
Basically.
alone, what is that?
It doesn't cost, I think a stamp now costs 55 cents, is that right? What's the
Email
stamp?
free.
I buy a whole book, I don't know.
Okay, well, it's about 55, 60 cents.
Yeah, it's 50 because it's
All it
5,
cost
50,
us,
10.
how many banks are in town? 10? 15? I don't care. 15, 10 times 55, $5.50 to send a letter to every CEO of every bank and the chairman of every bank saying, this is from Amani United. We want you to understand that we are seeking to negotiate a community benefits agreement with this development. And we want to be sure there's no lending approved to this development without full knowledge that we have a community benefit agreement. You don't think he's going to be ringing that bell?
Oh, he will, absolutely.
But once again, what are we training for, my leader friends and sisters and brothers? We're training to win.
We're trying to
This is
defend
not
ourselves.
patty cake, this is not, we're sending a petition, we're sending a love letter across the street. I have somebody at home, that's not why I'm dealing with this. This is serious business. Okay, so financial, talk to self-help. Reach out to every financial institution about what our position is. Alex?
He's actually gonna get his money from WIDA, which is the Wisconsin Economic Development Association.
Which is today.
Let's talk
Which
with
is
the
a bank,
government.
but that's from the government.
So they have to, he has to have, spots that's low income. If he's getting funding from
From
WIDA,
WIDA,
that's,
yes.
I think it's what,
They're-
at least 15 to 20%.
It's 15%.
Well,
Yeah,
the other thing we've talked about all day is because of this opportunity zone, he has to get the governor's approval. I mean, I don't know if he has to get the governor's final approval, but it's a state thing. We need to reach out to our state legislatures, legislators, and the governor to also get them to agree that we have to have a community benefit agreement or he doesn't get the money.
Okay. So that letter actually, once you have a template, pretty much can go to the elected officials as well as all the
Right.
financial.
But y'all must know some way to get to the governor, right? No?
Yeah, because his main man grew up in the neighborhood.
That's one of Alex's great uncles.
Man, get out of
Yeah,
here.
Lieutenant Governor is, what's his name?
Mandela.
Mandela, and Mandela grew up in this neighborhood, am I correct?
Yeah, he grew up right across the street.
So are you ready to ask him for a meeting?
Yes, we are.
Octavia is like
Okay, is
this
that-
with him.
Somebody better be taking all these notes, because I
I
swear to
think that-
God, I'm gonna be calling every day and asking if X, Y, Z happened, and nobody better say to me, I don't even remember.
I think that it's important that not just whoever's gonna be speaking to whoever, we all need to become well-versed, so that when we talk to these people, we know what we're talking about for one, that they know that we know what we're talking about for two, so that we can get more respect for who we are and what we're trying to represent, because if they
And
don't
once again,
respect
Candy's
us.
going ahead of me on the agenda, but there's an item on the terms called assembling and training, organizing a negotiating committee.
Yes.
So she's right on program, she just, I can't catch up with her, but I'm trying, I got 25 minutes to catch up with her.
I need candy on that one.
Okay, so governor, we gotta get the governor, we gotta get the, okay. Financial, tactical, what does that mean? What actions are we willing to take to make sure that the target, in this case the developer, knows we're serious about this? So we've talked about some of the behind the scenes stuff, some of the political stuff, some of the letters to whoever, phone calls to whoever. We're gonna talk to all Alex's relatives. But what are we going to do so that he understands that this project will not go forward without a community benefit agreement? What public action are we going to do that makes it clear to everybody in the press? You know, remember one of the first sessions I did, I put a map up there. You identify the target, every way you can exercise pressure on that target. So let's say,
Do you mean if push comes to shove?
I mean, right now, we're pushing. So,
Pushing is, push has come to shove.
Push is always gonna come to a shove,
I'm
that's
not
why we have to stay
saying,
two
I'm not
steps
saying we
ahead.
want to do this, but here's an example of what I'm saying.
Back up, please.
So, somebody said he's gonna start doing work on the site this week. If it were,
So we
just for an
already there.
organization I was working for, one of the options I would be putting in front of the leadership is maybe we should let him know that we're gonna have 10 people out at that site with signs demanding our community benefit agreement unless we have a firm date and time for our first meeting with them. Now,
Absolutely.
how many times have we reached out for this sorry gun already?
One too many, way too many. I reached out, everybody.
But you've sent him already, like
Yeah.
text,
Send him text,
email.
all that
He ain't
stuff.
saying nothing back.
So I would somehow reach out to his office and say, if we don't hear from you, we're going to, this is what I would do if it were.
That's what I really want to talk to him, so I can tell him, like, look, man, if you don't play fair, you want to play dirty ball, we gonna get right
I
there
wouldn't
with
even
you.
call it dirty, that's just fair.
Well, you know, I got you.
All is
Sometimes I gotta
fair.
excuse how I talk.
Yeah, no, but you know, you
You'll
don't
be
be
leaning
liberal.
that.
I mean, he's playing dirty with us, we're playing fair with him. We go out to the public and say, we want your support, that we get a community benefit agreement. And
That's
they're
what
not,
I call
we're not gonna, you know,
Johnny Nutri,
And his was so
so we
crazy.
can get allies on our side.
Oh, the
I might
press
show up,
conference.
I might, you know, have 10 people show up at WIDA, what's it called? WIDA?
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
WIDA. Excuse me. I might have 10 people show up at WIDA saying, no money to this project until there's a community benefit agreement.
That's the last text I had when I just made it real plain and simple. Community benefits agreement, let's talk. Simple as that.
Yeah, he says, back to back the rest of the day. What day was that?
It's right there.
That's a few days ago.
That's a few days ago.
Oh,
this
May
is-
5th.
May
Cinco de
6th.
Mayo.
I mean, I think it's like the 9th today.
Yeah,
May,
it
May,
is.
yeah, May 6th, so.
That's a long meeting he's in.
Yeah, he said he said, hey,
That's a long ass meeting. So
So-
better send him some pizza.
I'll be direct, community benefits agreement, let's talk. Like, man, I ain't finna go back and forth with you. You know what you need
The
to do.
next time you send a message, say, okay, see you on the street or something.
Yeah.
Hey,
But once again, that's a leadership decision. These are options that if I were Richard and Alex, these are the kind of options I would be paid to give you for what actions you need to take to now make your issue serious. We found that on their turf, we're not doing so well. At the planning commission and city council, we got, you know, hornswoggled. But on our turf, can we do better?
oh yeah.
So you always look for where you're strongest. And right now, we're ready. I mean, I think that's something we know how to do, and you don't need no 100 people to do it. I mean, Because, you know, you get on the blower, you get on the, you know, whatever, you get a couple of press down there, all of a sudden there's controversy. You don't
They
get
don't want
billions of dollars,
controversy.
you don't get $30 billion in loans for controversy. There's already articles saying that this is a risky deal for the city. There's already articles in the paper saying they're not sure he can make any of this happen.
Yeah.
He doesn't want one drop of rain to fall on this. So he can bully all he wants to. He can bully himself right out of this project.
Yeah, one of the Southside Hispanic aldermen said too on the program today that he think it's a white elephant. He don't want it to go forward. And that was at 6 o'clock.
Was it for Reds?
I think it was. He said,
Whoever it is, we ought to reach out to him.
I can reach out to you.
Because we need their support for the community benefit agreement.
I got a question. Is this developer, is he the same black guy that bought the
He's not
hotel
black.
downtown and then revamped it? And it's is
Germania?
that the same person?
I don't know.
Cause it's a black guy bought a hotel downtown and he
That's him.
put a
That's
couple
Kevin
of million in it and it's supposed to be one of the really nice hotels, but I don't know if this is
I
him.
ain't never-
He doesn't own a hotel yet. He has an apartment deal he's done
But
and
no,
it's
then
place
it's
called
another guy, he
Germania.
owns the hotel downtown. He bought a building and made it into a hotel.
Okay, I hear
Put
you. I don't know who
apartments
he
in
is.
it, and he made it part of it for low income, and then the other part is for people who can afford upper income. So this is not the same guy.
Don't know.
It's probably Brandon Newell.
Okay, so tactics, the question is going back to the basics. What do you do? What do you want public? What do you want private? What are you willing to do?
I definitely think that the media should be contacted.
You have to figure out what you want them to see.
Because basically, once we give out all this, once we get out the information for the community benefits agreement and things don't go right, then we, like you said, we basically pop up on this set.
Remember what I said months ago, the threat is always more powerful than the action. So to tell them, either you get back to us or we're going to be on the street, that's called a threat. Now, if he doesn't get back to you, you have to deliver.
You gotta back it up.
But you can certainly, it's easy to threaten, we're going to be out at the site. Because that, I mean, all you have to do is drive a couple
We
cars.
can't talk about it, we gotta be about it, y'all. We know how that works.
Stanford was there, they was interviewing him, and he was giddy this evening. That, oh, this is so great for the community. Oh, he was just so giddy about talking about that project on the
Okay.
news today.
And we're going to talk about that Hispanic alderman too. External, next steps. How do we want to approach the target? I think we've already said, Brother Rice Pay's been in touch with an email, phone, whatever, face to face. He's still disrespecting us so far. We're talking about other strategies for reaching out to him, setting a deadline that we have to hear from him. At least we can do that. We don't even have to threaten. We can say, we want a deadline, we either have a date certain we're meeting or whatever, or we're gonna have to consider other options.
Man, I'm finna text him again right now, like, bro, what's happening?
Assembling
Careful
political
what you say,
allies.
because you want to always be able to come back and communicate and not,
If the way he
come on
get down,
too
he
strong or
should
not
have,
strong enough.
dealing with this
Right, you
guy,
don't wanna burn bridges.
I think
But
dealing
you
with
wanna
him,
get your
he
point
kind of
across.
straightforward, so I don't think we have to have that old, around the club conversation.
I would say, bro, what's happening is saying, bro, like, we're brothers.
Oh, I would.
You know,
I wouldn't say
you're not
that at all.
negotiating.
No, this is.
I wouldn't say that at all.
You gotta set a target.
Our game is 7:45.
No, that's what he just said, gonna do. That's what he just said, he's gonna do.
Bro, it's 7:45, I wouldn't text that, brother.
Right, wait
Why
till,
not?
during professional
I
hours.
think,
Say Clark is Lex.
Right,
What's
doing,
happening?
doing,
7:45.
the message
It can't be done in decency and order.
So as a board, that's what you're talking
Okay,
about last night.
external, approaching the target, everybody's got an opinion.
Okay.
Assembling political allies, okay? So we've had that discussion, is everybody comfortable what we need to do? Do we need to create behind Amani United a larger coalition on this community benefits agreement?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so let's make a quick list of other churches, youth groups, community groups, agencies that we can get to support our.
Well, basically out the gate, all of our community partners should be backing us
All the
up.
community
All the community partners
Okay,
should
have we
be.
talked to them yet?
No, we ain't talked to them yet, but they should be a go.
But
But
that
we
could be
still
the
should,
list.
Who
still be
else?
looking for new allies
Yeah,
too.
looking for new allies.
Because if they help us, then, they're helping themselves as well.
But let's make a list.
So you
What,
got-
besides our community
Should have a
papers,
list of the community
partners rather, what are other allies? Are there other churches that we have not
That sounds
listed?
Bethesda.
Yeah, sister, what's her name, McCanny?
Even other communities.
Yeah, Sister McKenna.
Even other.
Other
adjacent
neighborhoods.
communities.
Yeah.
They're gonna be coming out with this.
Right.
Especially,
Like
State,
Madcap.
What church do you go to?
Yeah, you don't need Lindsay High.
It's
you don't
across,
need-
Right, that's why it's
Capitol
called
Street.
United. We have to
Preachers
come
in
together.
Christ.
Yeah.
New preachers in Christ.
Are they people that would support us?
Actually,
Yes.
What church do you go to?
Don't,
Yeah, me either.
Every tax dollar involved.
Okay.
Church is
But I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say,
Somebody give me a church. Somebody pray on all of us, please.
let me say this.
Can't we speak to them about supporting us as a Kingdom Missionary Baptist? Okay, that's on you. Anybody else know church people? Anybody else know church people? Can you talk to them about supporting us here? Okay,
got-
we do a
I got-
template on what they would need to sign to support us on a community benefit agreement.
Latter-day Saints.
Can you get?
I'm kidding.
That's with me, it's
Okay, well, your whole first Saturdays is full of church folks that,
Right.
that said that they would have their churches back.
That's not until the first Saturday in June.
We got the
They got
fourth
already
Tuesday meeting
contact
coming
with-
up.
What
Okay.
churches was
We
here?
got the housing meeting coming up.
Don't they-
What about if we talk to
Ain't
business
no
owners in our
heard no whole
community?
lot of
I-
churches.
know, they're-
I
that's the
can't but
business.
hear one conversation at a time, I'm so sorry. You finish, please.
Okay, you.
You were talking.
Oh, I was trying to answer what church people she said was here Saturday at the meeting.
no, talking about the residents. They was the church people, and they just galvanized the church.
Okay.
No.
So we got an answer to that?
So why don't we just talk to the business owners, especially the ones, the black business owners that we do still have in our community?
And all I'm asking for is a list, so we can
Okay,
see what
'cause
they
we
say.
need to
So
talk
start
to
naming
them.
names.
I have to go,
Yeah.
I'll go to them and talk to them, I have no
Well, we
problem.
already got Kenny Cross and them, they already on deck.
Who's the bar, it's the barber shop right here on 27th and Burleigh, you
I
talking
want
about?
them to sign a
I know them too.
statement.
I just don't know of them well.
I don't
Sign a
want
statement.
a head nod, I don't want a wink and a nod. I want them to sign a statement that says, I'm Kenny whoever, I'm whatever, and I support Amani United in this effort to get a community benefit agreement from the Icon Hotel.
A petition,
I
right?
want a statement with their name on it.
Is it a petition way?
Statement with their name.
I don't care.
Okay.
They will.
I just want something real, not let's go through.
How about
Basically,
the part
They're
that
one of
says
those black gas
vintage
stations that
residents?
don't
Like
have
lists.
left in our community.
Yeah.
But give me, I'm just
List,
begging for
like,
specifics.
COA,
Okay, make a list.
Basically, northwestern
Make a
community.
list.
The thing about it is, he has already, excuse me,
five conversations
excuse me,
going
excuse me,
to it.
excuse me, excuse me. The reason why this is so important is because he has already told me to my face, he will have a whole nother group that will combat us and, and overrule us.
Who said that?
That's what Hammer said.
I mean, I know y'all don't want to threaten him, he's very good at threatening us. We're like, fighting,
I don't
like
take
our
kindly
hands
to that.
I
tied
bring
behind
all
our
that
back.
stuff down over there.
Okay, so we gotta say, we ain't no killer, but don't push us.
What I always say is you can,
So
you can
we
beat
need
me,
to
but
make
you're gonna have to whip me
sure,
first.
we need to make sure that all our allies are on our side because he's probably already getting to the
yeah,
work.
he galvanizing right now. So he galvanized.
Oh, wow.
He ain't
No,
crazy.
he thinks he's won.
Right.
That's why we got the opportunity now. He thinks he got the little city council support, he got that little promise, little kiss on the side of his face. Now we gotta come hard or not come at all.
That's right.
Now, we definitely can apply pressure, first of all, to all them aldermen, because don't nobody really like Stanford or Rain.
Okay, now we're
I
back to
actually thought
politics.
Randy was a
Hold
standing
on,
guy.
I think, let's set a goal. How long would it take us to get 100 businesses, churches, whatever,
Okay, well, I started
on a
the list,
petition
so
or a
we start
list or
adding
whatever that
actual-
support Amani United and their efforts to get a community benefit agreement from, how long would that take? Week, 10 days, 2 weeks, what?
Each of us do 10.
I say 2 weeks.
I say 3.
I would
You don't have
rather
that
give
much
us,
time.
Well, it depends on how many hands are on it.
I
Yeah.
would rather give us more than enough time than not enough.
We don't have.
I know, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
So if each of us do 10
2
people
weeks.
and come back in 2
Okay,
weeks.
let's look at it another way. So if it takes 3 weeks to get 100, how long does it take to get 50?
A week and a half to 2.
Yeah,
So let's set a time when we'll have 50. 3 weeks from now is what date? That's when 100.
May the 30th.
Half that time, 10 days, whatever.
Yeah, May the 30th.
Not black.
That's the 18th of May.
The 18th of
So by Memorial Day, we'll have 100.
Okay, well, first thing first, what are they signing?
A statement that said they support Amani United.
It's 2 sentences. Alex and Richard will have that ready tomorrow. They will have it in both letter form as well as petition form. Whatever they're willing to do, whatever's easiest for you to get a signature on.
Okay, so
And just use your regular MOU.
That's what I was saying, is use a regular MOU.
support.
That's
Does
just,
it
that's,
say community benefit agreement with Icon Hotel? Because that's what it's got to say.
no,
Yeah, you can,
we can kind of, we can finagle, put it in there if we want to.
Okay, so
They can
then
write it in their sheet.
we need to meet so that we'll all be on the same accord and know what we're gonna be saying to these people.
Okay, so that, once again, Candy has brought up, how do you want to assemble and train the negotiating committee? She brought this up at 7:35, and she's brought it up at 8 minutes till 8.
Simple and training,
So, yeah.
we need to have.
When is there going to be an actual training for the actual committee that will be there? Not, tonight we've got 12, 13 people, that's great. Who are the 6 or 7 people that are going to commit that anytime we have a bargaining session with this company, they'll be here, they'll be trained, they'll know the demands, they'll be ready. That's what you need to figure out between now and whenever we have this first meeting. All of us can support them, and we will. And you can have alternates or whatever, but you need to have those people that you think is your best negotiating team trained and ready. So everybody knows the language, they know what's in the.
It's you, it's young folks, it's you, Mr. Lindsay.
yeah, that's what it is. My time. Like right
No,
now.
Alex and Richard will staff that committee, they're not the committee. You can't keep saying it's membership-led and resident-led, and keep looking at Alex and Richard. Excuse my language.
I know for a fact, I can just say, more women definitely need to be on there, because they
Just
are.
don't say,
Cause we got.
We just
you're
don't have.
gonna, yesterday, everybody agreed that you had the authority to appoint people and then bring it back to everybody to tell them. Start talking to people about whether or not they can make the commitment, if they have the time, are they willing to go through the training to get ready, et cetera, and then, but you don't have more than when is the Tuesday meeting, Richard? Is it next Tuesday?
24th.
Everything is too far away, so you gotta do this. You need this committee appointed by first of next week. So
Go start to get people here.
One person.
don't talk to people about it now.
That's why.
Don't talk to people about it now.
I talk to you.
Okay, talk to her after the meeting. Think about who you want your 6 people to, saddle up and be ready on this. Tough talk, okay.
I called you, you didn't call back.
And then Richard and Alex are